Hello everyone, in this video I am going to explain hardness of water. What is hardness of water? In generally, water we can classify in two ways. One is soft water and one is hard water. So here we have two types of waters. One is soft water and one is hard water. Then how can we differentiate this soft water and hard water? This is basic technique. By using soap solution, we can differentiate which is a soft water and which is hard water. Generally, when you add soft water to the soap solution, it will give a good lather, means foam. And whereas hard water, when you add to the soap solution, it does not produce any good amount of lather. So that kind of water we can call hard water. Hard water which does not produce lather readily with soap solution, and soft water which produces lather readily with soap solution is called soft water. And this is which produces lather readily with soap solution. So that water we can call soft water. So hard water which does not produce lather readily with soap solution. Then why hard water will not produce lather with soap solution and whereas soft water will produce? So this is a reason. Generally, what is a soap? It is a long chain organic fatty acids. Let us take sodium or potassium salts of long chain fatty acids. One of the example, stearic acid. Let me take here. This is one kind of the soap form, chemical formula. So this is soluble form of the soap. So this soap when you add to the hard water. So generally hard water contains the salts of calcium, magnesium, of its bicarbonates, chlorides and sulfates. Whenever we add the soap solution to the water which containing calcium, magnesium salts, and that calcium and magnesium salts reacts with the soap solution and forms precipitate. A kind of the scum will form. It will form precipitate. So this is a precipitated form. So there is no more production of the lather here. Why? Because this soluble form is converting into the insoluble form. It will form precipitate instead of forming lather. This is the main reason to form precipitate or which does not produce the lather. That is due to the presence of calcium and magnesium salts in hard water. Now, based on the presence of calcium, magnesium salts in hard water, we can further classify this hardness of water into two types. That is temporary hardness and permanent hardness. So this hardness of water generally we can classify into two ways. One is temporary hardness and the second one is permanent hardness. First of all, what is a temporary hardness? How it comes? Generally, temporary hardness is due to the presence of calcium and magnesium salts of bicarbonates. Bicarbonates of calcium and magnesium salts are responsible for the temporary hardness. If water consisting of calcium bicarbonate or magnesium bicarbonate. So these are the two salts are responsible for the temporary hardness. Anyhow, whenever you add again the soap solution, that reacts with calcium and magnesium ions and they will form the precipitate. And the second one, permanent hardness. Permanent hardness. Generally, permanent hardness is causes due to the presence of again calcium and magnesium salts of chlorides and sulfates. Here, chlorides and sulfate salts of calcium and magnesium, like calcium chloride, calcium sulfate, and magnesium chloride, magnesium sulfate. If these type of salts present in the water, then they will causes permanent hardness. So both the case, the cationic part is same. Both the case, calcium and magnesium ions. So these are the cations mainly responsible for the hardness of water. So for temporary hardness case, generally take anionic part is bicarbonate. For permanent hardness case, if the same cation is attached with chlorides or sulfates, and they will produce permanent hardness. So just you should remember these four types of salts. In that, 2 causes temporary and 4 causes permanent hardness. Then how can we remove these hardness? I means both temporary hardness and permanent hardness. In that first one, removal of temporary hardness. So we can use some basic techniques to remove a temporary hardness. A removal of temporary hardness. Temporary hardness. So here to remove this, anyhow this temporary hardness causing water consisting of calcium bicarbonate and magnesium carbonate in the soluble form generally. So our aim is to convert it into hardness water to the soft water. Just we have to remove the calcium and magnesium ions from that water. Then the water will become soft water. So this temporary hardness generally consisting of calcium bicarbonate. So to remove this calcium from this hard water, just we have to boil it. So if you boil it, what happens? This calcium bicarbonate undergoes decomposition and it will form insoluble calcium carbonate. So the first method to remove this temporary hardness is boiling. So simply by boiling it, you can remove the temporary hardness. So just if you boil it, what happens? So it will form calcium carbonate, undergoes decomposition, and water and carbon dioxide. Anyhow, carbon dioxide is a gas, we can remove from the medium. Anyhow, water is a water. Here calcium carbonate is the precipitate. It is in the insoluble form. Now this calcium carbonate, we can simply filter it. We can do the filtration. Then you can remove the calcium carbonate. Just if you remove the calcium carbonate, calcium will be removed from the water. So if there is no calcium in the water, means the water will become the soft. So best method to remove only temporary hardness is boiling. Similarly, magnesium bicarbonate also. If it contains magnesium bicarbonate, again we have to heat that solution. It will form magnesium hydroxide. Again magnesium hydroxide is insoluble form. It will form precipitate. Apart from this, it will form carbon dioxide. Anyhow, carbon dioxide is a gas. It is removed from the medium. Again, this is precipitate. Again the same, just if you filtrate it, you can remove the magnesium ions. And the second method to removal of the temporary hardness is Clark's method. Clark's method. So in this Clark's method, we will add calcium hydroxide. So here we will add just the calcium hydroxide to the temporary hardness causing water. So what is the role of calcium hydroxide here? Let us take calcium bicarbonate. To this, if you add calcium hydroxide, just calcium hydroxide reacts with this calcium bicarbonate, again forms insoluble calcium carbonate. Means again this calcium is removed as a insoluble form, precipitate form. Again we can remove the calcium from the water. That is a temporary hardness causing water. Similarly, magnesium bicarbonate. To this also we can add calcium hydroxide. So it will form magnesium hydroxide, precipitate, and calcium carbonate. So like this you can remove calcium carbonate and magnesium from the temporary hardness. So these are the two methods for the removal of temporary hardness. And the next, permanent hardness. How to remove the permanent hardness? So anyhow, the name is giving permanent. We cannot attempt the simple methods to remove the permanent hardness. We have to attempt some special method to remove the permanent hardness causing substances. That is the calcium chlorides and calcium sulfate, magnesium chloride, magnesium sulfate. Next, removal of permanent hardness. Removal of permanent hardness. In that first method is a treatment with sodium carbonate or washing soda method we can call. And the first one is treatment with washing soda. Nothing but sodium carbonate. So here what happens when we add sodium carbonate to the permanent causing substances, like there are calcium chlorides or calcium sulfates, magnesium chloride or magnesium sulfate. If you take either calcium or magnesium or calcium salts of chlorides, if you treat with sodium carbonate, and it will form calcium carbonate plus sodium replaces chlorine, we will get sodium chloride. Again we can remove the calcium from here as a calcium carbonate. If you take sulfates, again if you treat with sodium carbonate, again it replaces the sulfate from the calcium, again it will form calcium carbonate and form sodium sulfate. Again what we are doing here, again just we are removing calcium as calcium carbonate in the insoluble form. Again you can filtrate it, you can remove the calcium carbonate from the water. Again it will become soft water. This is one of the method to remove the permanent hardness. And the second one is Colgan method. Here Colgan is a commercial name of sodium hexametaphosphate. Here Colgan is called sodium hexametaphosphate. Sodium hexametaphosphate is called Colgan. The chemical formula for this colgan is Na6P6O18. Sometimes in the complex form you can write this, the chemical formula Na2 Na4 P6O18. And here one point you have to keep in mind that always 2 sodium ions should be present outside of the closed bracket. This is a complex part and this is a non-complex part. In the complex part only 4 sodium atoms should be present, and outside of the complex 2 sodium should be present. You should not write this chemical formula like this. Na4 Na2 P6O18. So even though it is kind of the isomeric form, means same chemical formula, but representation is not correct. So this is incorrect representation and this is the correct representation for colgan. Again this colgan, if we treat with again permanent causing substances, so Na2 Na4 P6O18, and this if we treat with either calcium 2 plus or magnesium 2 plus ions. So here it replaces a cation part, then it will form this cation replaces the sodium which is present in the complex part. It will not replace these ions, it replaces the complex part sodium. So we will get Na2. So here each calcium can replaces 2 sodiums, because here valency 1 and the calcium is a bivalent. So for 1 calcium we require 2 sodium atoms. So you will get this compound finally. So like this again we can remove the calcium and similarly magnesium from the water. This is the second method for the removal of hardness causing substances. And the third method to remove this permanent hardness is a zeolite process. It is also called permanent process, zeolite or permanent process. Zeolite process, or sometimes we can call permitted process. So what are the zeolites? So these are the hydrates of sodium aluminosilicates are called zeolites. The zeolites are hydrates of sodium aluminosilicates. Hydrates of sodium aluminosilicates. So here the formula for the zeolite is Na2 Al2 Si5O8 some X number of water molecules. So it may be some hydrated forms of the sodium aluminosilicates. So this is Si2 Na2 Al2 Si2O8 XH2O. So this we can write in the simplest form, that is this entire part we can take as a Z. I'll represent with some symbol Z. Now this we can write as NaZ. So this is a small representation, a shortcut representation of the zeolites. And these zeolites, if we treat with again calcium or magnesium ions, again calcium replaces 2 sodiums, then it will form the calcium Z, or if it is a magnesium part. Again the sodium is replaced with the calcium, means overall if you take like this Na2 Al2 Si2O8 some XH2. And this one if we treat with calcium or magnesium ions. So this calcium or magnesium part replaces the sodium. Here only cation part is replaced. You will get the respective zeolite. Ca, Al2, Si2, O8, XH2. So like this again we can remove the calcium and magnesium ions. And the fourth one is a synthetic resin method. Synthetic resin method. This synthetic resin method is more efficient than the zeolite process. Generally zeolite process is a little efficient, but here synthetic method still more efficient than the zeolite process. This is more efficient than zeolite process. Generally here in the case of zeolite process we remove only cation part, but in case of synthetic resin process we remove both cations and anions. We can call this a kind of the ion exchange process also. Here we will use two types of the resins. One is the cationic resin and one is anionic resin. Cationic resin replaces cations and anionic resin replaces the anions from hardness causing water. So here we'll take first one is cationic resin. Cationic resin. Generally these resins are long chain organic molecules which is attached with a small organic acidic parts like carboxylics or sulfonic acids. And these are the cationic resins, or generally resins are long chain organic molecules, which are attached with some acidic parts, like attached with acidic groups like mostly carboxylic acid like COOH and sulfonic acids SO3H. Long chain organic part let us assume are. Now the cationic resin we can represent like this, that the long chain organic part is attached at end with the carboxylic acid or SO3H. Again this overall part we can represent further. This in the short form we can write like this, RH. So here the cationic resin means the cations are generally replaced with H plus ions. Here H plus ions are replaced by the cations. So the overall chemical formula we are writing as R. So whatever the cation part is replacing, that we are leaving as it is. So we can write in simple way RH. So what happens here? This H plus ion are replaced by cations. So here if we take RH, what are the cations will present generally? Again calcium and magnesium. This calcium 2 plus or magnesium 2 plus ions replaces the H plus. Then they will form R2Ca or R2Mg. If any other cations present, they also replaces along with calcium and magnesium. If any sodiums are present, they also replaces ice or Nb. So like this, the H plus, so it releases H plus. So whenever we use cationic resin, complete cations are replaces and they releases H plus ions in the solution. And the second one, anion resin. This cationic exchange resin. Sorry, here cationic exchange. We are exchanging. Just you can correct here, cationic exchange resin. So you are exchanging cations with other cation. That means H plus with cations. And the second one, anion exchange resin. Anion exchange resin. So what is the use of this anion exchange resin? It replaces, or it exchanges the anions. Again, these are the resins, again long chain organic molecules, but these are attached at end with some basic groups. Cationic case, they are attached with acidic groups. Here, anionic exchange resins attached with some basic groups. Again, these are long chain organic molecules or organic compounds which are attached with basic groups. Generally, we will use the basic groups, the ammonia derivatives, ammonium hydroxides. This is a plus ammonia. So ammonium hydroxide type. There is a derivative of ammonia. We can say here NH2. That amine spot reacts with water. It will form NH3 OH minus. Amine derivatives. So this again we can write like this, long chain organic part, or this is attached with NH3 plus OH minus. Now again here the OH minus, this is the anion part. This OH minus is replaced with anions, whatever the anions present in the hot water. Again the reaction, the general representation for this, if any anions like chlorides or sulfates, if they are present in the water, they exchanges OH minus and they will form finally, if it is a chlorine, it will form Cl minus. If it is a sulfate, it will form twice of this one and releases OH minus. So in case of cationic exchange resin, they are releasing H plus ions to the solution. In case of anion exchange resin, here they are releasing OH minus to the solution. So overall what happens? H plus and OH minus together combined and they will form again pure water. You will get here pure water. So that is why this is more efficient over the zeolite process. Complete ions can be replaced by the hardness causing water. That is why we can say synthetic resin method is more efficient than the previous discussed methods. Again, these resins also we can recollect it and reget it, whatever the ions exhausted, means in case of cationic resin, a regeneration of the resins. Want to see? We can regenerate these cation exchange and anion exchange resins back simply by treating with dilute acids and dilute bases. The regeneration of cationic and anionic exchange resins. In case of, so for this we will add dilute acids. Generally we will use HCl or H2SO4 dilute acids and dilute bases. Most of the cases we'll use sodium hydroxide as a dilute base to regenerate. First, in case of cation, what we are getting? So R2Ca. This if we treat with a dilute acid, for example, if I take HCl, again the calcium reacts with the chlorine and you can regenerate the resin. You will get RH and calcium chloride. Similarly, anion exchange resin we can regenerate by treating with base NaOH. Again in this case, again the Cl minus replaces with OH. You will get back the anion exchange resin. So like this again we can reproduce this both cationic exchange and anionic exchange resins. This is a regeneration process. And these are the 4 methods to remove permanent hardness. In the next we will see the numericals based on this hardness of water. If you like this video, please like, share and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.